Everybody, welcome back to another episode of One of These Years. I'm, of course, Baumgardner along with Colton Pouncy and Chris Burke. Three-man show today, as it is draft week, and we've been away from you for a minute as we've got some news going on, or at least some upcoming news anyway, some changes to the show. First of all, Chris, how are you guys doing?
Doing
how
good.
How are you guys doing? Whatever. Yes, good.
Ready to be locked away in Allen Park while everyone's having fun downtown Detroit for the next couple days here.
Have you seen? So you're down there, Colton. I actually saw the airplane hangar last week. I was down there with Brad Galley on Thursday night, so I saw the big thing. Have you walked around the scene? Have you seen much? Have you gotten behind the fence?
I have not.
I
was gonna say, yeah, I've seen the stuff. I haven't it's not fully ready yet when I was down there, but it looks cool. I mean, they're doing a lot for the draft. I've seen the countdown for the last couple of years now since I live in Detroit, so.
Yeah,
right. Finally taken away for a few days now. Yeah, it's cool. So it should be fun. I hope to at least get out there Thursday during the day, kind of check it out before I go to Allen Park. But yeah, I'm excited for the city, man. It should be a good showcase event.
Chris, have you gone down there yet?
I haven't. I was actually disappointed the stuff wasn't open now, earlier in the week.
It's all construction fenced off. You can't get
well, that's what I don't want to go down Thursday, Friday afternoon and try and fight it. So I haven't been down there yet. I'm sure it'll be cool though. I'm sure it'll be a great weekend. You and I were talking, Nick. We were one Flyers goal away from having a Red Wings playoff game Saturday night too, which would have been.
My God,
I don't even know how people would have gotten to that game, but it would have been awesome. But yeah, it'll be a cool weekend for the city.
It will. It'll be a lot of fun. A lot of people will be there. I'll be there all 3 days, I think, for at least most of it, some of it.
You're doing TV stuff, right?
As I will be on TV with Brad.
I saw your suit with Brad. Yeah, there you go.
I had to dust that bad boy off. Have a couple more in the closet ready to go here. So I'm going to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I think they have a lead-in hour. Channel 7 does because I assume the draft's on ABC, right? Or ABC, ESPN, whatever the hell, every single channel. So yes, I will be doing that as well. So shout out to Brad. And then also, before we get going today we're going to do a 7-round mock draft together, which should be fun. I don't think we've ever really done that together, all three of us. But we've got the screen share situation going on here, so we'll be good to go there. But before we get into all that, we do have some changes to the show upcoming. We want to talk to you guys about. Nothing, drastic or bad. But we are taking the show off of The Athletic, essentially. Yes, we are moving the show away from The Athletic's feed, away from The Athletic's iTunes stuff, all this and that and the other. We noticed last week we started the YouTube channel, and some of you are maybe watching us on YouTube here. Be sure to show your friends and everything else. One thing that will come with our departure from The Athletic, and that we'll own the show and everything else that goes with it, is we're going to change the name. So we don't know what the name's going to be yet. And we've actually talked about this, yeah. One of these years, people are like, hey, what if they won last year? What are you going to do? Right?
Yeah, got a lot of that.
We got a lot of that. So for right now, what we're going to say is we don't know all the details yet of all the platforms of where you're going to find everything yet on the new show. But right now, what we want you to do, because we want to keep this sort of open to you guys, One of These Years was a fun name that we had at the beginning. But I do think the Lions have probably graduated to a different name. So we're going to open it up and say, and Colton, what's the email they can send these to? We have an email address.
Yeah, ootydetroit@gmail.com.
ootydetroit@gmail.com. I believe OTY Detroit, or One of These Years Detroit, is also the YouTube channel name. Or is that the handle on there?
Yeah.
Whatever it is. So what we want you to do is find our YouTube channel. We'll tweet it all out and everything else. It's also, I think, the handle, like we just said, of the Gmail there. Find the YouTube channel, subscribe, and take a screenshot of yourself subscribing and send us proof of that with your name submission, either to that email address or to one of us on Twitter. And we will look at all these names up over the coming weeks, and maybe we'll have I don't know. We'll do something. But the point is, you got to send us proof that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tell your friends about it as well. And there'll be a new name to the show in the upcoming weeks and months, and I don't know how long. But anyway, that's enough business. I take care of it all, you think, guys? Is that enough?
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Good.
Gets the point across without timing it too much.
I think that's, yes. We don't know all the details yet, but more or less we're moving and we're changing some things up. But it'll all be good. It'll be fine. You're still going to get the show and everything else. If anything, it's probably going to force us to do more of the show. So I'm sure we'll do more of it than we were already doing. But in any event, it'll all be good news. Okay, so today, like we said, 7-round mock draft. Colton, you just did one of these. Before we get into it, what were some of the regrets maybe that you had? Yours ran, I believe, Monday on the site, right?
Yeah.
What were some of your regrets, and what were some of the things that you were happy with there when you went through yours?
No regrets. It was a perfect mock draft. Brad Holmes going to follow it to a T, and we'll have a good weekend here.
Yeah, right, exactly.
No, actually, I mean, I like the way I formatted it because I wanted to make it, fun and include some trades. Because as we know, Brad Holmes gets asked every time, like we see him, are you going to trade down with the drafting in Detroit? Do you have the power to do that? Like all these questions that he gets about it. So I just wanted to present a couple ideas about a trade down and a trade up within the same draft because it happens all the time. So one of the things I did, I traded down from 29 to 36 with the Commanders. So that's the Commanders coming up to 29. And the reason I did that is because Lance Zierlein at NFL Network, he kind of tweeted that he'd be shocked if the Commanders didn't come up with all their capital back into the first round, specifically for maybe an offensive lineman. And I'm like, okay, well, if you want to do business, our guy Lance Newmark is in Washington now. He's the assistant GM with the Commanders, so there's a connection there. So we made a trade. I traded 29 and 73 in the third for 36, 67, and 100. So we moved back into the early second round.
That's a good spot.
We move up 6 spots in the third round from 73 to 67. So a little pick swap there. And then we also get 100. And the value lines up on Rich Hill for the most part. The Lions are winning that by like 8 points or something like that. But thought it made sense for both sides. So Commanders get an offensive lineman there. Lions can trade back and still get some good players in that range. So first pick, I ended up taking Jordan Morgan from Arizona, offensive lineman with guard tackle flexibility.
Yeah, that's a good fit. I like that.
Can back up Taylor Decker, Panay if one of them goes down, and also Kevin Zeitler and Graham Glasgow if one of them goes down. And he can be a long-term fit at guard if Zeitler leaves in free agency next year. So I kind of like that. I hadn't really knocked him to the Lions too much this offseason, so I thought that'd be cool. A little, change of pace there.
Yep, he works.
And then my other trade, I used capital from that Commanders trade to move back up in the second. So I traded number 61, the Lions' own second rounder, 100 and then 201 to the Eagles for number 53 and 120 in the fourth. Okay. So with that, I move up 8 spots in the second. And I get Keon Coleman, a wide receiver from Florida State. A lot of you are familiar with him from Michigan State. I didn't think he was going to make it to 61. I wanted one of those like X receivers. Xavier Legette was already gone. Ladd McConkey was already gone. So I went with Keon. And some people like him, some people don't. He's like a polarizing prospect. Yeah.
I like Keon. I like Keon a lot more than most people, I'll say.
Yeah. So my thing with Keon, the more I watch him, I think he'd be a really good, like, big slot receiver. Like,
I think he'd be very good, yes.
And with the Lions and what they do, and they mix and match their receivers so much, like you'll see Amon-Ra lining up on the outsides and X. Like the positional versatility within the receiver room is really intriguing. So if you add a big body guy like that, like Keon, to that room, you can line him up on the outside sometimes, let him go win a jump ball in the red zone, or you can put him in the slot and let him beat up on smaller nickels and bully them. So I like that fit a lot. I know a lot of people are down on the lack of separation, speed, 40 time, whatever, but I think he's a good player. And I think depending on how you use him, if you use him correctly like that, could be a good player in due time.
He has not been no cuts to whoever's coached him in college, but he's barely been coached.
Yeah.
That's really the thing that I think people probably forget or overlook completely when they talk about Keon. He has the body control and all that stuff that we've seen, a terrific athlete, but I mean, like, Chris, you remember him at Michigan State, all it was go ball, and we didn't even know who he was from a draft perspective until, like, halfway through his first, like, real year at Michigan State, and all he did was run, like, one route the whole season. So he's really barely going to be coached. I think he's got potential to do all sorts of stuff. It's going to be about how badly he wants it. I mean, I think that's a big thing with Keon is, like, he used to play basketball and football. It was always like, which one do you really like football? It's always been a question with him, but if he can prove that, then yeah, man, like, I think he's great.
He's also one of those guys that, like Colton mentioned, playing him in the slot. Like 15 years ago, you'd plant him on the outside. He'd play 100% of the snaps on the outside. You'd never have him do anything else. And So now you can do some more things with guys like that, or teams are willing to do more things with guys like that. But to your point, Nick, he hasn't done a whole lot of them. Like, we still need to see it. It'd still be projection in a lot of ways. But yeah, I mean, there's certainly, what's he, 20 years old, 21? I mean, he's still a young guy too. So, yeah, I mean, that would be one for down the road as much as for next year.
Yeah, that'd be long term. Yeah. What else you got, Colton?
Yeah, I took one of your guys in the third at 67, the pick we got from the Commanders, to move up a little bit there. Mm. And I took Andrew Phillips, your guy from Kentucky. And Nick, you recently wrote about Andrew Phillips.
Did. Right? Yes.
Yeah, what were your takeaways from that story?
He's awesome. I think Dane actually ended up saying he regretted having him as low as he did, and he was in the 60s. He was like 61 maybe at the end.
Oh,
in the
that top doesn't bode well for my
draft. Right?
Yeah, he had him
61.
He wanted him higher.
Dane's the highest guy, I think, on him. But, like, fair enough. He is the thing that separates him. There's two things. He's an explosive athlete with really good versatility, right? I think he played corner and safety. And he's comfortable with anything. Really loves football, that sort of thing. But mentally, right? And he's got all the speed and juice that they like. It's not he checks every box. Mentally, he is like him and Sainer still from Michigan are two that check that box for me. And there's actually a lot of corners this year that sort of have that swagger to them. Terrion Arnold is the same way. And Quinion, I think, will blossom into that. I think he's growing into that. But they have that mentality of just like, you're not going to outwork me. I'm a culture guy. I'm going to come in here and fit in. I'm about the team. That's it. I'm not about anything else. And that's what struck me, I should say anyway, the most there. I don't know if Chris you've had any thoughts on the addition there, but like that's what I thought the most about that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like his range, right? You would think he'd be like late round 2, early round 3, probably right in there. So
I think he would. I think he might be there in 3, but I just think culture-wise, he would be a great fit.
For sure.
Great fit.
I agree. He seems like an AG guy, a corner. So
yes,
needed one. I
still can't tell. He can move around. He can do a lot of stuff.
For sure. He's got some inside-outside flexibility. Yep. I still don't know how Holmes feels about this cornerback class, especially at 29. Like, would he take Kool-Aid? Maybe. I know he went to Alabama's pro day and kind of watched him. But if he wants to wait on the corner, if you can get a guy like Andrew Phillips later on in the third, why not? I think he fits a lot of things that they do. So the other picks I made, Jalix Hunt from the edge from Houston Christian.
I like him. He's fun.
Yeah, 6'4", got 34-inch arms, 4.64 speed at 252 pounds. Small school guy, but I mean, he gives some max effort, former safety, super athletic, so I kind of like him. A pick that pissed some people off, I took a kicker, which usually goes against my rule of drafting kickers because they usually struggle. But I just think the Lions are at a place where, like, show me where the needs are. They don't have a ton. So
they have one there. Yeah.
A lot of people like to mock a kicker with like pick 249 in the 7th round. I'm just like, you're not going to get the best kicker at that point. You not have anymore. To take, like, where did Moody go last year? Like 3rd round, something like that, 3rd, 4th. So I have them taking Will Riker from Alabama. He was 22-25 last year, 5 for 5 for 50 plus. So he's got good range. I think he's the best kicker in the draft. So if you want that guy, you probably have to get him in the 5th, maybe. I don't even know if he makes it that far, but we'll see.
They're just getting the Michigan Panthers guy, aren't they? That's who everyone wants now.
Bates, yeah. Can't tamper right now, I think, is the deal right now. But after that, I took Sion Baki, the safety running back from Utah. I just feel like he'd be a great special teamer. Like that just seems
they probably would like him a lot.
Yeah, he could fit like the CJ Moore role when he was in Detroit as a special teamer. Like I think Fipp would love him. Can maybe play some defense for you too on a depth basis. And then Christian Boyd, the defensive tackle from Northern Iowa, who kind of blew up at the East-West Shrine Bowl. And I think he had 38 bench reps, like can eat up space. I don't know if he's going to be there in the 7th. Like as soon as I did that, I was like, I could probably see him going like 5th round or something like that. So I don't know if he's going to make it to round 249, but I think he's a lion. I think he's like their type of guy, and a player I could see them ultimately drafting.
I would agree with that. Okay. Before we get into this, because I'm going to get my screen sharing going here, we've got Colton's read. Chris, I haven't really gotten your thoughts on where you're sitting, what your head's at. Where's your head at for the first round here for them? Because Colton just mentioned it, like they could take a corner. I don't know that they will or won't. I don't know that they'll love the corners at 29. I don't know. Like, What's your where's your head at with this whole thing when we go into this?
I mean, well, so the corners there. I think. It's going to depend on who's there. Obviously, it's just you go through these scenarios, and there's sometimes where the board falls very well for them, and you have 3 or 4 choices that make a lot of sense, and then you go through it sometimes you're like, this is all terrible. They don't really need any of these guys. You're trying to shoehorn someone into something. I mean, you're obviously getting a good player at 29, but some of the more obvious fits, if you take like, Powers Johnson and Newton and Chop and, the edge guys off the board, like it gets a little trickier, I think, to figure out exactly what they're doing. I think that's where the trade down maybe comes into play a little bit more. I don't know. I feel like Holmes is just such a wild card in general, like for every GM in the league. And I think a lot of that is like, to his credit, as we've seen, I feel like it's happening more and more with this like latest wave of GMs is there was a long time there where like picks were more valuable than anything in the NFL world. And now you have GMs who are willing to throw them around to get what they want. And so I think it's kind of caught people off guard the last couple of years. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that it's not as you can speak to, I think, Nick, like the difference between 29 and like 50 in this class player wise is it's like the same guy. You're getting like the same level of player.
Right.
It's
all a big chunk. And
like Dane had like 23 guys with first round grades or something. I don't even know if he had that many. So
I think that the Niners said they had 22.
Yeah. So once you get beyond that, you got a pretty big second tier of guys.
And the other thing
would also help you trade down if you don't have a guy you want, if you're not like married to someone there.
The other thing about that is that, and maybe you agree, maybe you don't, Chris, I don't know, but like this is a good draft class in certain areas on the field. But like the point that you just brought up about there's only 22, 23 guys, certainly less than 25 that have first round grades. This is not a deep class. This is not a deep draft class. When you get in, when it gets into the bottom of round 4, it's going to get a little thin out there. You know what I'm saying? Like it probably, maybe early 5. It's not. I just don't think it's super, super deep. A lot of guys stayed that we didn't, that's we didn't think were going to stay.
Yeah.
And there's some of these, like the edge class is just like, I didn't want to like make ridiculous claims back in December, but we were watching like championship games and I was chatting with Dane one time and I was like, this is terrible. I'm like, there's no one here. And he's just like, there's not much, and it's like, and it never really bared up, the more you look into it, I mean, people like Latu Latu, and I guess I get that, but there's a question mark with every guy. There's a question mark with every single guy, multiple really, with every single guy. Same thing with corner. It's not a deep class. So it wouldn't shock me at all if they trade up, trade down and then trade up. Like you said, Chris, like move around and be aggressive and just like maximize whatever they can on top 100 and just get the hell out of there.
I'm also assuming that there are at least 2 or 3 guys with first round grades in that Lions room that no one else has close to a first round grade on. So there's someone there like Braden Fisk or like Malachi Corley, like some random dude that they want at like 18.
Yeah, right.
Nowhere near that level, like sort of with Campbell last year. You're like, yeah, he's kind of a second rounder, and you're going up and getting him. So,
yeah, that is a really good point.
I don't know. That's what I mean. It's just it's hard to pin down exactly where like you can sort of figure out guys that fit the type at this point with them, but beyond,
you don't know where they're going to stack.
Right.
That's you don't know. Yeah, that's the best way to put it because you don't know what. Yeah, go ahead, Colton.
Let me ask you guys this: who? Because we're talking about first round prospects, who are the best Lions fit based on like what we know about how they think, how they go about approaching the draft, the mentality they look for. Who are some of the better fits for them, regardless of position?
The reason why I keep bringing up the trade up is because I think one of the best on the board is Terrion Arnold. I think the corner from Alabama, I think he's if you go back and you're really deep into it, there's a clip that goes out there about he talks about it went viral somewhere where he's talking about taking hard coaching from Nick Saban. And the reason why I went to Alabama is because I wanted to get coach started. Saban then ended up talking about Terrion later in the week. He's a super tough kid, and he was not supposed to be the dude coming out of that duo. He was behind Kool-Aid, right? Like a year ago or whatever it was, probably on a lot of boards. And then he had a terrific year. He got better in the offseason. He's like, for me, he's the most complete corner in the draft. He's got the mentality that you're looking for in terms of he's aggressive. He forgets stuff when he needs to forget it, and he moves on, and he's smart. And I just think he's a really, really good player. Him and Quinion both, I would move up for. But like, I think Arnold is one of the best fits, maybe of any player in the draft.
Is Verse in that group for you? Like, is Jared Verse a guy that you would put up there?
Not for me. I mean, no, like, I don't know. Like, he was good last year, but he wasn't like, I didn't think, the year before we were talking about him, if he'd stayed and he didn't stay, right? He came back. We were talking about him as a top 10 lock.
Yeah.
And like, I remember we did a mock in January, and a lot of times when we do those in January, it's like just haywire, would do whatever, we mess around with stuff. But I had Verse down in the 20s, and people were like, "That's no way." I'm like, I gotta tell you guys, I just don't know if he was as dominant as we thought he could be, and he didn't have a terrific resume on the back end of it, right? Dallas Turner, I like, but would I trade up for him? I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree with the corners. I mean, part of the reason I keep like semi-joking about McConkey is because I think he fits everything that
really
they
well.
do mentality-wise and in terms of that offense. And like, you look at who's there, and I think you can make a case that he'd be the best guy on the board. Mm-hmm. Newton.
Yeah, they'll like him.
I think Newton's probably in there, like mentality-wise. Like, that he's going to come in with the chip on his shoulder, and he comes out of that program that gets guys ready. So, I don't know. But again, I think I don't know. It just feels like there's going to be a gap between, like, it's going to run out at some point in round one. The guys that you're like, oh, he's definitely a fit. That makes sense. And then, all right, well, are we staying here?
What are we doing? Yeah, exactly.
Get out of here.
I think Cooper DeJean, in terms of the versatility, I think they would actually like that. I know it's probably a deterrent for some teams because they might not view him as a true outside guy, but I think the versatility the Lions would like. I mean, they like their Iowa guys, so they probably watched a lot of him last year. I think Newton for sure. His quote to me was, "They fuck with me and I fuck with them."
Yeah, that was a good one.
I think JPJ, Zach Frazier. I'll give you a guy that like is not being talked about a lot because there's not like an obvious fit there, but I bet they love Mike Sainristil from Michigan. Like, he fits he's like the Brian Branch of this year's class. Mm-hmm. And like, do you draft him knowing you have Brian Branch? Probably not, but they have talked about moving Branch to safety a little bit, playing him some more snaps there. So but in terms of like football players, which Brad Holmes always talks about, he's a guy like that. I could totally see them loving him, just not having a place for him.
It's a great point. And Cooper too, we've sort of dismissed that in some cases because of Branch, but like every time we've dismissed it when we talk about it, it's like, well, maybe we shouldn't because they love Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. The whole crew does, the GM and the coaching staff. And like, that's the kind of guy I feel like Cooper is, and that's what Branch is. They can do multiple things. They can do Cooper might be a long-term safety, might be a nickel, like you said, Colton. Maybe Branch becomes a safety and Cooper becomes the nickel or whatever. It's one of those type of deals that maybe it wouldn't shock me if they just get two of the same guy, two Brian Branches, two Amon-Ra St. Browns.
Brian Branches,
is that right? Like, that's what has been rattling around in my head quite a bit. And Chris brought Ladd up too. Like, he reminds me of St. Brown in not the same exact player, not the same body type or whatever. In so many ways, he's faster. But like, he's so freaking reliable. Like, I feel like the Panthers need to climb over hot poles to get him for Bryce Young. You know what I mean? Like, he's the best quarterback friendly guy in the class, and that St. Brown right now is the best quarterback friendly receiver in the NFL, I would argue. Like, and if you got two of them, like, Goff's going to be loving life, right? Like, anybody would be, really. So yeah, I don't know. Interesting situation. Okay, you guys want to get into this then? You want to turn this on and unpack the 7-rounder? Let me get my screen up.
Do you have the paper copy of the Beast behind you?
That's an old one from. Hang on, let me get it. Oh, there we go. Got my screen going. It's an old one from 2022.
Yeah, I think I have that one too. They sent out copies the one year.
Yeah,
I thought you ran over to Kinko's and printed it out.
Really disappointed that they don't still send out that copy because I thought this was great, but yes, they don't send it out anymore. I don't know why I was looking at that the other day. Okay, so we do have the mock draft simulator from our friends at Pro Football Focus. This is the best one in the game, right? There's no better. I'm not missing one here.
ESPN started one. Theirs is pretty good.
Did they? Oh, those bastards.
We need one. I don't know when we're going to get ours.
So we're behind now.
Our draft editor, what's going on?
We've been working on it for 2 years.
Everybody's waiting on it now, and it's going to now we're going to have to deliver some damn thing that reinvents the entire whatever. Anyway, so roll with PFF. We got the mock up here. Before we get going here, Colton, you're the trade man usually. What are you thinking here as we go in? As you see some of these things that are coming up, do you want to trade? Do you want to look into anything before we go, or do you want to see what happens? You want to just pick this straight through?
Let's play the board a little bit. We'll keep it slow. We're not going to sim through everything. Right. We'll see what happens as the draft.
All right, so I'll start us off here.
Yeah,
and then we'll go from there. And I have it as
Malik Neighbors or
Daniels already fell. That's it.
Yeah. This is the public and it's in the middle of the MPFF board. This is pretty fun. This is okay.
You want to pause at 20?
Okay, I'll resume.
Okay. Latu went 17th. Okay.
Yeah.
Terry and Arnold at 19.
Arnold just went 19, yeah.
All right, so let's go back up and look at the top 10 there. So that doesn't look ridiculous. I don't think that looks out of order. Daniels. That's an interesting one, though. The 3 and the quarterback. So what are you going to say, Chris?
I was just going to say, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities.
That's what I was going to say.
McCarthy.
Well, both that and
Harrison flip.
And if it might not be quarterback 1, 2, 3, 4. It might be quarterback 1, 2, 3, and then these guys be like, I'm not passing on these receivers 4 or 5, and then quarterback at 6. Right?
Should we read the picks so our listeners not watching on YouTube?
Get everyone to watch.
Oh yeah, we're staring at it. But hey, look, more motivation for you to go back to YouTube and
check it out.
Check us out on there. We're tweeting about it. Number 1 overall was Caleb Williams. The Commanders took Drake May, J.J. McCarthy to the Patriots, Malik Neighbors to the Cardinals, Marvin Harrison to the Chargers. So, hey, a couple of weird things happening there.
Mm-hmm.
Then Jaden Daniels to the Giants. Okay. So the Giants are ready to party. Joe Alt to the Titans. Roma Dunze, the Falcons. That's a great value there.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas Turner then to Alabama. Talise Fuaga to the Jets. And then we've got no trade up from the Vikings here. I think that's probably unlikely.
That's probably unlikely,
right. Fashanu going there at 11, and Jared Verse at 12 to Denver. Quinyon Mitchell goes 13. Fatanu goes 14. Latham 15 to the Colts.
I don't know if the Colts pass on Brock Bowers at 15.
Yeah, no, Bowers going to be gone well before 15, but he goes 16 to the Seahawks. Latu to the Jaguars at 17. There goes Colton's guy. Byron Murphy, that's too low for him at 18, I think, probably, right?
They're talking he could be the first defensive player taken this year. That's what they're saying now.
Yeah. And then Arnold at 19 to the Rams, that's too low for him. I think he'll be much higher than that.
Yeah.
Mims at 20, Amarius Mims, the big tackle there, 20 to the Steelers. So, not insane in terms of the guys that are going.
You got some guys here the Lions could be interested in. They're still out there.
And we stopped on the Dolphins, pick 21, and this is a team without a third-round pick. So, natural trade partner if you're trying to move up to the early 20s, I think.
And in our case, both of those corners are gone, so I don't really care.
And both
who are you? Like Powers Johnson? Who are you moving up for at this point?
Yeah, if it's not a corner for me, I'm not moving up, really, because then, do
you like DeJean or Wiggins enough to move up?
Not to move up, no. Yeah. I would play the board if I were here, because I think you're going to be able to get all of those things. I think it's a decent chance in real life that Powers Johnson falls.
I think
that's a decent chance. I think you'll be able to get a good receiver there no matter what you do.
Ryan Thomas is still there,
Ryan
right?
Thomas, they did bring him in, or they interviewed him at the combine.
Yeah. I think no matter what happens, they'll be able to get a good receiver at 29 if that's what they want to do. Certainly corner. I think you can find, if you want to get the next best corner, but that's not really for me. I would probably try to trade down after that point. But yeah, I think there's still some options here. I think we can safely stick. You want to stick here?
Yeah, let's stick.
All right. Resuming draft. Dolphins go Nate Wiggins. Eagles go Graham Barton. There goes Cooper. Now I got to pause it here in a minute. Oh, we're up now. Okay.
Yeah, this works.
We are on the clock. So to recap, so we've got Nate Wiggins going to the Dolphins, Graham Barton goes to the Eagles, Cooper DeJean to the Vikings, Xavier Worthy to the Cowboys. Okay, Rob Robinson to the Packers, Brian Thomas to the Bucks. So Brian Thomas and Worthy are gone. Darius Robinson to the Cardinals, Kool-Aid McKinstry to the Bills. So Kool-Aid is also gone. So we can't do that either. But we do have Johnny Newton, Adonai Mitchell, JPJ, etc., etc.
McConkey.
Should we check our trade offers? See what's going on there?
We also have 2 trade offers.
Ooh.
The Cardinals are coming in hot.
All right.
Colton,
they got some capital.
That. You like that.
So
how many first-round picks do the Cardinals need?
They have a ton. They have so much stuff, man. It's insane. So this is probably realistic if they're trying to come up. Yeah.
Zerloin did, like in that same tweet about the Commanders, saying that he would be shocked if they didn't come up. He mentioned the Cardinals as well.
That's yes. This is a pretty realistic situation, I think, here. I think the Cardinals have so much stuff that
who's the other team there that's looking?
It was Giants at 47, which would be a much lower dip, which is a little bit low for. I think we talked about the Raiders yesterday, did we not? The beat Raider, and that was a little bit low.
Yeah, they tried to come up from 44. So Dave Sears, former Lions exec, is now the assistant GM with the Cardinals. So both those teams are the Commanders and Cardinals.
Last year that was the trade.
They traded last year. Yep.
Team last year.
So, well, Colton, what are they giving us here? So
we could frame it similarly to what I did with the Commanders deal, where you move up in the third. So we would get 35. We would get 66.
Yep.
And we could get probably 104. And we give up 29 and 73.
29, 73, 99% chance on that bad boy.
Yeah. So that means the value's pretty good.
So, I don't hate that.
So you move down a few spots. You move up 7 spots in the third.
Yeah.
And you tack on a 4th rounder, early 4th.
I don't hate that. Unless
they don't have a 4th
you're in love with someone.
Yeah, can I see the board again?
That's the thing. Like, who are we passing up on? There's Newton.
Like, who would be your pick here if you were staying?
So
JPJ or Newton?
We're going 6 spots down. Let's keep that in mind. If I was staying, I would go JPJ if I was staying.
I would too, I think. Or Newton. I don't know. That's tough.
I was going to say, I can make a case for Newton, but I understand the JPJ pick.
Do you think either of those would be there at 35? I think it's possible. One of them will be there at 35.
Maybe.
Like the Ravens are taking.
Jackson won't be there. I think
one of them.
Newton could be there.
Like Newton and Jackson, Power Johnson are both gone.
But probably 35. Both gone. Yeah.
Can you
scroll down a little?
Yeah. I was going to say, but you've also got Ladd McConkey, Zach Frazier, who we've talked about. I think would probably be there.
Yep.
Jordan Morgan, Colton.
Yep.
We talked about, and all the receivers. And I think that's the cool part about this draft is like the receiver situation just doesn't stop getting good. Like it's good all the way to the end of the 3rd round, really. I mean, into the 4th round, probably.
Yeah. And PFF, I think, is lower on Leggett, so he's probably still available like later on.
Yes, he has not been
taken like the 50s or 60s. Yeah, there
he is. So Leggett is still there. And Leggett's got the biggest range of anybody. Like Kuiper a couple weeks ago said 1st round on him, which Colton told me that, and I was like, "What the hell?" Like that.
Yesterday,
I don't know about that, but
I think yesterday it came out. Leggett told someone on a podcast that the Panthers said they're hoping he falls to 33.
Yeah, he's a freaky guy. I could see it. It's not out of the realm. He's got a ton of traits. Okay, so what are we thinking here? We're on the clock. 29. You want to do that trade?
Do we piss off the city of Detroit and make them wait another day? Give the first pick?
Yeah, Holmes is definitely going to do that.
Get more picks on Friday then. If people go on Friday night would be happy.
And the weather's going to be better on Friday as well. So that's the thing to keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen. The weather is going to be nicer on Friday and Saturday. It'll get progressively better as it goes. So this trade back situation, people complaining about this, let's look at this from a realistic standpoint here, I think. So I don't hate the trade back. I'm fine with it. You guys
do it?
I like that trade. I would probably pull the trigger there.
What did we say? 35, 66, 104 for 29 and 73, yes?
20.
That looks right?
29 and 164, right?
No, I said 73.
You said 73?
164, I don't think we'll get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
164 will not get it done.
We're moving up in the third from 73 to 66.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this is all right. Okay. I don't mind this. You like this one, Chris?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you're basically. Yes.
There's nobody there that I'm like,
I liked it better with
164,
but
that was never realistic. Do you want to try to get 90 instead of 104? They do have 90.
Oh, they do have 90. Yeah, let's try that.
72% chance.
Hey,
let's try that. Yeah, they'll probably accept it on PFF, but I don't know if they would do that in real life.
So 104 is probably realistic. Let's do 104. Yeah, I like this. So you're moving
you're going
back 6, then you're moving up 7, and then you're getting the extra. What's 104? Third, fourth, early fourth?
Early fourth. Yeah. Yes, so the very top of the fourth.
Yeah, right.
Second pick in. So you like this one?
Sure.
Yeah. So
all right, pulling the gun. Trade accepted.
How they pick. See who they're going up for.
Resume draft. The Cardinals went up for
Jackson Powers Johnson, Mitchell, Guyton, Leggett,
and then goes Leggett.
Franklin.
Leggett, first rounder, and Newton also gone.
Got sniped by the Patriots.
Recap. It went exactly how we didn't want it to go in every possible way.
So there's your downside of trading back.
Jackson Powers Johnson is gone. That's who the Cardinals went up to get. Odone Mitchell to the Ravens. Tyler Guyton to the 49ers. Leggett to the Chiefs at the bottom of the first round. Troy Franklin to the Panthers. And then Johnny Newton to the Patriots before the Lions come up here at 35, putting us in a bit of a pickle, but also like that's the worst case scenario what we thought about. But like, look at the board here. This is not that bad. This is not.
Get out of there again.
This is not that bad.
Get out of there.
You want to trade again? Well, I don't hate this board at 35. It would have been better with, but like Zach Frazier, for instance, I like a lot, and I don't know if I would have been comfortable with him at 29 necessarily. Maybe, I don't know, but like I like Zach Frazier a lot. I wouldn't hate him there.
Yeah,
well, like, that's the conversation, right? Too. Like, if you're moving down 6 spots, do you still have 6 guys that you're good with? Like, if you're in love with Johnny Newton,
right? And I'm not like to a point where I have to, exactly,
crossing your fingers,
right?
I think it was the fact that he just went 1 pick before. Like, I expect him to go like 30th, but he was still there at 34.
Leggett was the wild card there. I did not see that coming.
Tell people who's on the board here.
All right, so we got top of the board, Peyton Wilson, North Carolina State linebacker, Tyler Nubin, great safety from Minnesota, Ladd McConkey, receiver from Georgia, Zach Frazier, West Virginia center or guard, Mike Sainristil, Michigan nickel, and we got the quarterbacks, Nix and Penix, Jordan Morgan, Isaac. He's lower here. He's 46 on the board. A lot of people are rangy on Rakestraw. He goes all over the place. Him and Lassiter, too. Lassiter has been... Man, Lassiter felt like a brick after he ran that slow 40, but it's been not a great range, I think, for a lot of people's whatever. But anyway, that's the gist of the top there. Keon is also there. Roman Wilson.
So what are the like 2 or 3 names that jump out to you there?
Ladd, Frazier.
Yeah, for me it would be Ladd, Frazier,
Jordan Morgan.
Yeah, I don't hate Morgan. Yeah, that'd probably be those 3.
So I think Fisk is a really good player. I don't know that they'd take him that high. Colton just mentioned Sainristil. This is probably in his range. I like Peyton Wilson's awesome. I don't know that I'd take him at 35, but
we're next up at 61. Yeah, we're not going to get Mike or Wilson.
Well, we could also use our capital and make a trade up in the second if we want for another guy.
Yeah, that's true. You can come back up if you're thinking about it. But there are a bunch of guys here that are not a bunch, but there's a couple like Ladd, Frazier, Sanders still's on the fringe.
So here's a question I'll ask you guys.
I don't know about Fisk either at 35.
A Frazier related question here, because I think if you get into, especially now that we've just added an extra pick on day 3. There's a lot of guys like round 3, round 4, round 5 guards who have a ton of experience and would probably be fine picks and could be backups and then start down the line. There's a bunch of them. Do you need to draft a guy like Frazier's probably a center? Maybe he can play some guard. Like, what are you drafting? Are you trying to get a guy who can play both spots? Are you trying to get a center? Or like, where are you looking up front?
That's my hesitation with Frazier.
Yeah.
Because everything I read, it's like, oh, we don't know if he can play guard. And it's like, well, if you can't play guard,
I think he can.
He's a center only. then Frank, I mean, I know we like to talk about Frank's injury history a lot, but he's only 27. Like, I don't know. He could just try to keep playing through the pain.
This is why it's all speculative. That's why the whole situation, even with JPJ, but I think it's the same conversation with Frazier and Jackson, to be quite honest. I think Frazier would be able to play guard in their situation. But yeah, I mean, that's the risk of it, right? Where it's like Frank talked about actually when they brought him in. Like, it was horrible when I had to play guard. It sucked. I was a disaster.
And he got lit up at guard.
Like, he was like, I lost all my confidence. It was a freaking mess. I hated it. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, so, yeah. I mean, maybe it's not the best case scenario. There's a lot to weigh there. And like we've said every time, like, you can't do this without having, like, basically Frank be on board with it or, like, being part of the conversation. So that's the motivation there. But otherwise, to Chris's point, no, you probably wait.
I'm kind of feeling Ladd here. I don't know what you
Yeah, I like Ladd a lot.
Because I think we can go Ladd. I think we could get a corner like Andrew Phillips maybe at 61. We still have 66. We could get a guard there. I think we got some options for a guard later if we want. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You could, I mean, you'll have 61 all the way down to 164. We'll have an option for a guard.
Yeah.
I would bet. A good player that's going to be fine. That's going to come in and do
who's
whatever.
the Wisconsin center? Like Tanner Bortolini?
Yeah, who's also
he's pretty good.
A really athletic player.
Round.
Yeah.
104 for him.
Yep, you can definitely wait. So it's a question of if they do this, then Frank has told them, I don't know how much long, you know what I mean? Like, that would be my read into that. If they do something like what we're talking about, if they were to take Frazier or Jackson, even Jackson at 29, I think if you were going to do that, that's the conversation. Is Frank is like, I only got 2 more years left, guys, or whatever,
That, or like they can justify it by saying, well, Kevin Zeitler is on a 1-year deal. He's 34. Let's draft his replacement now, and then whenever Frank leaves, we'll slide over that player to
for sure. Yes, and I think that's the point. It's like this is the dream scenario of, like, if he does leave and you're kind of stuck, well, you're not stuck. Now you've got a center ready to go. Like, and the center is the harder thing to fill, in my opinion, than the guard. Usually. This is a good center class, though.
So what are we feeling?
I like Ladd over Frazier there quite a bit, actually.
Chris, how do you feel?
I mean, I've been banging the table for Ladd at 29. So I think
this would be a really good deal.
Right. Let's do it then.
Yeah. We're going to lock in Ladd McConkey from Georgia. On our way, we talked about
some of that. I will just add, like, some of the argument for Ladd, not only because of what we've seen them do with this offense and the mentality and everything, but, like, I don't know how realistic it is for Amon-Ra to keep taking like 400 hits a year and keeping that up.
Well, look what the Rams Look what the Rams just did, right, with Cooper and Puka, and obviously it's going to work out the way, and we'll recap this here in a second. But it's going to work out fine for them, and it didn't work out. Maybe, I mean, you're not going to predict Puka's going to be what he is in the 6th round, but, like, they're two similar players in that they're really hard to cover. They're savvy. They're just really, really good route runners. They always get open. Like, it's just hard to play them. And so that's the case. So I think with Ladd, the best case is, like, to Chris's point, like, if you get down the road, I think they're going to pay St. Brown probably this summer, right, Colton?
Yeah.
You get, like, 3 years down the road, and he's like, I want $30 million or 35. I'd be like, okay, we got Ladd. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, that's also the benefit of doing something like that. Not to say that you would do that, but, it gives you that insurance.
JMO insurance too, in case that doesn't pan out the way you wanted it to.
And again, they do I think pretty highly of JMO right now. Yes.
Sure.
All I heard in Indy from everybody who would know was they think he is going to really surprise some people. They are very excited, or they were as of 2 months ago. So
they still are. Yeah.
Okay. Colton can confirm. I mean, it's like, you never know with Jameson. Things change sometimes, like the wind. But yes, I heard great things about him in Indy. People were very, very excited, like hoping that he would surprise the league. In fact, like this year, that was some of the stuff. So that would give me a little bit of hesitation there, but I don't know. Ladd's a 1st-round pick to me. It might be a fringe anyway. So, okay. Let's recap who followed us here So Sainristil right away. So at 36, Mike Sainristil goes to Washington. Kingsley Sua, I can't pronounce his last name. Penasuel's cousin.
Suamaitaia.
Suamaitaia.
I don't know how to pronounce. Is that close?
His range is all over the place, I feel like.
It is. He's so freaking athletic, but also a little stiff and raw. Penasuel's cousin going to the Jim Harbaugh Chargers. Jim Harbaugh's home team, the Los Angeles Chargers. Trying to get Chris to roll his eyes on that one. I think he might. Max Melton, a great corner from Rutgers, going to the Titans. Colton's guy Jordan Morgan going to the Panthers at 39. Peyton Wilson to Washington at 40. Patrick Paul at 41 to the Packers. Roman Wilson from Michigan to Houston at 42. There goes Rakestraw, 43 to the Falcons. Penix and Knicks go back-to-back. Raiders and Saints, which I think that's actually a really good projection of what is going to happen there. Like, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about the Raiders moving up for him. I don't understand that. I don't know. Do you guys disagree with me? Like, I feel like I'm in some ways banging my head like alone on that one. I don't get moving up for him.
He's like 24 with like a couple knee injuries and played 6
I would move up for Knicks.
Football. I'd rather
have me.
Yeah. Right.
If I'm going to move up at all, it's going to be for Knicks, but I'm not probably doing it for either one of them because I think that this is very possible. I really do. Keon goes to the Colts. That's a great pick there at 46. Tyler Nubin to the Giants. That's a great pick as well, replacing what they just lost. Kamari Lassiter then goes 48 to the Jags. Roger Rosengarten, really athletic player, goes to the Bengals, 49. Jonathan Brooks to the Eagles at 50. Zach Frazier, 51. So he would be hanging in there for a while, maybe. Jalen Polk to the Rams at 52. Chris Jenkins to the Eagles, 53. Braden Fisk. So, Chris, we missed him. So there's strike one. He goes to the Browns. Ricky Pearsall to the Dolphins. Adisa Isaac to the Cowboys. Jonah Ellis, 57 to the Bucks. Blake Corum from Michigan, 58 to the Packers. Jatavian Sanders, tight end from Texas, goes 59 to the Texans. PJ Tampa, corner from Iowa State. So there's another one off the board to the Bills, leading us at 61.
Andrew Phillips.
And our board does, in fact, feature Andrew Phillips, but also we got some safeties up here. Javon Bullard, who I like a lot, from Georgia. Jaden Hicks. Karan Amadeji. Chris, how do I say his last name? The Yale tackle?
I can't do it. I gotta have the pronunciation in front of me.
The Yale tackle, who's very good. Chris Braswell from Alabama. Edward Cooper, who's really good. I would assume Junior Colson. I didn't call his name off. He's going to be up there. He is as well. Andrew Phillips, Christian Haynes, Malachi Corley, Marshawn Nealand. Might go higher than that in real life.
Yeah.
Those are some of the guys on the board. Also, Brandon Coleman, who Dane loves as a super athletic future tackle.
So what positions are we looking at? I'm thinking like corner, guard, maybe defensive tackle. And we have 61 and 66 because of the trade.
Corner, guard, maybe DT. I mean, I like Haynes a lot, and I like Phillips a lot. I think both of those guys are definite fits at this spot. Nealand is also very good. And he's got a range on him. I don't think he's going to be there either, but...
Wasn't he like 32nd on Dane's board?
Yeah, he was really high. Yeah, I mean, you never know, though. You never know. I mean, he could be...
Yeah.
I doubt it, but, realistically, Phillips and Haynes would be more of the guys you're talking about, probably, I would think. I don't know. Chris, do you disagree with that?
No, I mean, Haynes is sort of what I was saying, though, too. Like, you get down here, you can just find a guy. Like,
he's a starter. He's like...
Right.
He reminds me of Jonah. Like, that's what he reminds me of. Him and Mahogany from Boston College.
So this is also the range where I start to look at especially on the PFF board here, and are there Mason Smith is 140 for them.
So I like Mike Paul Jr., the Ohio State
guy.
He's 60th on Dane's board.
And he's 107, I think, on PFF. So
I would try to stick to Dane's board because PFF is kind of all over the place.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, in terms of what we're seeing for best available here, these are guys that are there that we're just not.
They're going to be guys that are lower that we like higher, and that's PFF.
I don't love Mike Hall here personally.
I was thinking not even
that's
at 66.
A little high for me. Maybe 66. I forgot we had 66.
Yahoo had a mock to the Lions at 29 in their final mock yesterday.
That's crazy. I mean, I know he ran crazy 40. He ran that crazy 40 at Ohio State's Pro Day. But like there are some issues with run defense with Mike Hall. And all you need to do is turn on the last 3 years of Harbaugh Palooza there to see that. I mean, like
he was out Mike Hall for every single loss there.
No, but I'm just saying, like there are things on tape that pop with him that he needs to grow with. Like he's a awesome athlete, but I'm a little. If we didn't have 66, I would be probably out on that. But I mean, I wouldn't hate that. I would go someone else at 61 and wait and see if we get Mike Hall. That's what I would think.
Yeah, I was thinking Mike Hall more for 66, but
yeah, okay, yeah, I don't hate that.
I mean, I like the corner idea here.
Corner, What we say, Phillips? You like him?
Phillips, yeah.
I like him a lot too. And that's almost right where Dane had him, I think. Also, he had 61.
61, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about where he'll go too. And that's a starter. I think he's a starter. I think he's a guy, and again, another versatile player who could do a few different things for you. A guy who, which is why I think they're going to like him. A guy that they like to move people around and see what happens. Like I like that. All agreement on him. Andrew Phillips.
Yeah, that's it.
The Louisville native Andrew Phillips coming to the Lions as well. So that gives them. So as we roll down to 66 here, that addresses corner. And how do you feel now about corner, Colton? After we've drafted Andrew Phillips, we've made the trade in the offseason. You've got hopefully Mosley coming back at some point. How are you feeling about corner right now after Phillips comes on board?
Really good. You got Carlton Davis for your number 1. They're really high on Amik Robertson, so I would expect him to start. But I mean, Phillips could probably push for playing time immediately and maybe take over at some point if he's that good. But yeah, I think that's solid top 3, and you got Mosley coming back whenever he's ready off the ACL. So maybe we could double dip at corner later on.
Like one more still? That was my next question. Do you still feel like maybe one more in there?
Yeah. Extra body maybe might help, but I think
Chris, you agree with that? Maybe at some point, like, do you feel like one corner, or maybe would you like to see 2?
I think that's one you could double up on for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think they've done a lot. Like Amik Robertson, we talked about senior still. He's got some senior still, not just his size, but like the way he plays with that size. So I mean, I think that you're certainly further along. I mean, safety is still a spot I would look at some point here, but
that's the other one I was going to bring
cornerback,
up. Maybe
I think they could double dip if they needed to.
Yeah,
maybe a corner who can also play safety, like that kind of thing. I don't know. Okay, so Mike Hall is still there. And do you want to do that, Colton? So to recap, we got Malachi Corley went 62 to the Ravens, Chris Braswell to the 49ers, Marshawn Nealon goes to the Chiefs, Edward Cooper to the Panthers. So we are at 66 with everyone we had.
A lot of trade offers.
And we have 5 trade offers as well. To go like barely down. So
4 spots back.
Yeah. Not much there.
We probably don't need to do a trade. That's probably a little complicated.
So you still have Mike Hall as well.
Podcast.
And then you also have Mason Smith, who Chris was talking about.
I mean,
as an outlier.
I don't know that I'd take him there. I was just sort of throwing him out.
Just to throw him out. Yeah.
I'm doing like trying to like draw conclusions from the list of visitors that are public. So I'll run tomorrow, I believe, and they're doing their homework on some of these defensive tackles. So I think they want to add to that room. Like they have Reeder and Aleem, but some question marks behind those guys. Like Broderick's not quite ready yet. I definitely see them adding to that room. I don't know if it's going to be this high, but there are some players in this range that you could take, I think. Look at the defensive interior. And
Dorless there too.
You've got Brandon Dorless, who is a versatile player, who can play both edge and inside. Ruko Horhoro, who is he's an awesome athlete. He might be the best athletic. He's inconsistent, but he's a terrific athlete. Really long.
Dane had him like 51.
Yeah, awesome athlete. Like he could have gone out last year and would have been drafted. Would have been fine. Mike Hall, Colton's guy. T'Vondre Sweat, also still hanging out. I doubt he's.
Don't think he's a fit culturally.
I doubt he's high. But to your point, like I like Dwayne Carter a lot from Duke, and he's down there 136. I like him. I don't hate Wingo.
I like the Hall fit. I mean, some of it's just what are you looking for to like. Dorless is a really good player. He's also like similar to Pascal, I think, in how they use.
You're right about that. They're the same. They're the same type of guy.
So Hall is more
like 20 years.
We need someone to push the pocket from the interior,
and that's what he's. Yep, and he can do that.
He's super young. He's 20 years old. He's got a lot of room to grow, I think. And I think that's a good thing.
All right, my call.
Target.
Coming to the Lions. PFF's going to dog us on that grade. They're not going to like it. They're not going to like it.
Whatever.
So that Reader, Mike Hall, Lee McNeil, the ghost of Levi Onwuzurike, if he can come back and do something.
Broderick.
With Josh Paschal coming in sometimes and Aiden rushing inside maybe a little bit. Pretty good. Now that's one where I'm like, okay, now I'm pretty happy with that if I'm the Lions, yes?
I think so. That's a really good rotation.
There's not much to complain about with that. I mean, I feel like you're officially, if you can figure out a way to get really any of the guys that we just listed there on the top of that group, I think you'd be whatever you got from Levi is gravy, and you've been able to move on from that. Like you've been able to fix that if you can get one right here. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So now we're at pick 104.
104.
That we got from the Cardinals.
Yes, we made that trade from the Cardinals. So here we are. And yes, Chris did mention safety, top guy on the board, Adrian Taylor-Demerson, who could be gone at this point in real life. A very good player. He was awesome at the Shrine game, one of the best, Shrine Bowl, one of the best players there.
Cedric Van
Yep. Michael Pratt, quarterback. Tulane, Cedric Van Pran from Georgia as well. Ben Sinnott, and then Mahogany, who we've talked about. Cameron Kitchens, who I'm not as high on. Jerian Jones, Colton, I believe. No, Renardo Green was your guy. We already took a corner though. So
Renardo, yeah.
You like guard down here, Colton, Chris? Do you like Dadrian enough to do the safety override on him?
They probably love Ben Sinnott. That's probably a guy that in that room has some, but I mean, to circle back on what we were talking about earlier, like you mentioned Van Pran, Mahogany, like those are plug and play guys. I mean,
Mahogany
I would prefer Mahogany to Van Pran if those are your two choices. But
I think Cedric is more of a center only. I don't know how much I would like. I wouldn't be as comfortable with him at guard.
So, question: I do like Mahogany. How do we feel about Bordolini, because he's 109 on Dane's board, and this is pick 104.
I like Mahogany better at this point because I think he is going to be a lot like what Jonah was. Like we talked about with Christian Haynes, who's off the board here. He went. I'm not sure where he went a little earlier. Cooper Bebe also went in the third round there. But it's similar to. I think there's similar players to Jonah, where they're going to be able to come in. They're going to be physically ready to compete. They're not going to dominate anybody. They're not going to be ass kickers out there, but they're going to be good enough to do what you need to do, get in the way. And if you're putting the guy between freaking Frank and Sewell, for God's sake, I think he'll be fine. You know what I mean? He's going to get help, even if you put him in between Frank and Decker, I mean, it'd be okay. So that's the other thing to keep in mind. I don't hate taking a guard only, just a really good guard. Give me the best guard we can possibly find. I don't care if he can play center. I don't care if he can do anything else. If we're waiting, to me, that's what I would rather do. And Mahogany, to me, is that guy.
Can you scroll down a little bit more on the board here? I just want to see. It's just that you mentioned safety. Like Taylor-Demerson's really good. Cameron Kitchen, I like Kitchens a lot. He's right there. I was looking for my dude that I picked in the mailbag, Mustafa from Wake Forest.
Yeah,
he's down there 148. So they got
Valky and Bishop as
well. That is low for Mustafa. He'll
Mustafa's a day 2 guy.
He's 84 on Dane's board.
Yeah.
He's a top 100 guy. So is Taylor-Demerson, and Kitchens is probably right on that fringe, I would think.
Are there any? What about edge? Is there anyone at edge here that interests you? Or are we locked into guard?
Edge list.
Hunt is gone. He went 86 or something like that, which I feel is high for him.
Ooh. Hunt is gone. I'm trying to see who else. Austin Booker's gone. Hunt's gone. Xavier Thomas is gone. That might be all after Neyland, yes. So Brennan Jackson is our next guy, and Mohamed Kamara. So it becomes a lot of these guys who are you're really getting into the weeds here now. It's guys who all are kind of one note. Not to dog on anybody here. There's a lot of Michigan guys. I don't mean to do whatever, but a lot of these guys are limited. And this is why the edge class, as we see it, Brennan Jackson, Mohamed Kamara, Gabe Murphy, Jean Baptiste, Braden McGregor, Nelson Cesar, they all have nice traits, but
they brought in Nelson for a visit, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he's another one on that. It's they all have a trait that I think that these guys would probably like to some degree, but that's it. They have one. They have one trait. They have one thing. Most of them are are not very complete. So that would be a tough one probably for me up here at this point.
I think guard here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think guard or safety would be my only other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would vote one of your favorite safety or Mahogany.
Could we try to get Zach Zinter at 164? You think he makes it that far with injury?
I think he would. Well, is he gone?
He's not gone.
No, he's not gone. Yeah, he'd probably be there then. Where do they have him at?
He's 131 on Dane's board. I don't know what
they have him.
163.
Yeah, Keegan ahead of him. That's well. First of all, that's wrong.
Maybe it's an injury bump.
First of all, that's completely incorrect. I would say there's no way, even with the injury. I think he's moving again a little bit, but I would not have Keegan ahead of him. That's me.
When I've been doing these, Zinter is sometimes there, sometimes not. So
yeah, it's all over the place on him. The injury is going to be the big medical there. Yeah,
we could do like 164 and 249 and try to move up like 10 spots maybe to guarantee Zinter there, or we could just take it right now. If you want to go safety, that would be
I think
one option.
I mean, yeah. Nick, what do you think?
I like Mahogany here.
Mahogany's one of my once you get beyond day one, he's one of my
I think he's a starter
guys on day 2, day 3 that I think is just going to go he's going to be in the league for 12 years and you're going to forget about him because he's just so solid.
I'm down.
Oh, did I freeze? Uh-oh, what happened? You guys back?
Yeah,
we're back.
I think I froze. Sorry.
I think we're good. As long as the mock draft didn't freeze, we can keep.
No, I think we're good. Otherwise, okay. We moved on from the freezing. My computer just did that. All right. So drafting Mahogany, and we are locked in there. And moving up.
It's a long wait.
But yes, sorry. I agree with everything I think you were saying on that. I think he's a starter who's going to be a guy who comes right in. He reminds me, like I said, of Jonah, and it's like. I don't want to say a replacement level guard because he's better than that, but he's a good player. I think he's going to be a guy who's around for a long, long time, as long as his body holds up anyway. And after him, the guard thing becomes a little bit more of you start to question. I like Keegan, but there's questions there too, as we wait on the long one all the way to
Mason McCormick went before we picked that last time, and he was the other one. Dane's got him 30 spots below Mahogany, 26 spots below Mahogany, but he's another one that he's played a ton of ball. He could be a backup right away next year. I think that's one that makes sense too.
Oh, there goes Mustafa, but I don't think he would have. He's not.
No, he wouldn't get this far anyway. Yeah. Tyler Davis. Trevin Wallace, and here we are at 164, and Zach Zinter is still on the board. So is Nelson Caesar.
Just barely.
He's our.
To Cameron Richardson, if you want to double up the corner.
Yep.
Braden McGregor.
Let me look at the safeties really quick here.
Yep.
So a bunch of them are gone.
Trey Taylor. That feels low for Trey Taylor.
Trey Taylor is somebody just told me the other day. One of our mock draft guys. He's related to Sean Taylor.
Someone.
Sean Taylor.
I thought it was Ed Reed.
Oh, Ed Reed. No, I mean
probably in the beast.
I got it right here. Trey Taylor, not Troy.
But Dane's got him at 285. While we're talking about
some awesome safety on
guys.
Taylor.
He has Trey Taylor at 285.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's his last safety in the top 300.
I can't find it. But either way, we'll get back to that. So, no safety here, or yes? What are we thinking?
Go back to go back to all positions.
Top of the, you want me to read them? I'll read them. Top of the list, we got the Monmouth running back, Jaden Sheridan, Zach Zinter, Javonte John Baptiste, Nelson Cesar, the edge from Houston, Richardson, the cornerback from Mississippi State, Braden McGregor from Michigan, Anthony Gould, wide receiver, Walter Roos, Oladipo from Oregon State, another safety, Bo Limmer. You've got another Colton guy, Cody Schrader. Oh, another one, Jawan Foster.
And
Tory Taylor.
They Nehemiah Pritchett, the Auburn corner,
the big corner.
I think he
like him,
or they met with him at some point.
So you think another DB here, maybe?
We could. If I was going to take a corner here, I'd probably go Richardson, to Cameron Richardson from Mississippi State.
He's a nice player.
do we want an edge? We could go Cesar or maybe I think Dane mocked Braden McGregor to them. But I don't know. That's high for him.
Do I want an edge? Do I care at this point? Like, I mean, that's the question. Like, I don't
might
know
be
if
forcing an edge, but
yeah, like I don't know if I want one, honestly, or if I, based on what we just already did, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say this also this feels high for the edges that they're showing.
Yeah, I wouldn't do McGregor here. No way.
I think the safeties and the corners that are available are better than the edges.
So we're thinking.
Do you like any of those safeties that are there? Like
I like
Ohio State, Bo Braid.
I like the Oladapo kid. I like Richardson. I don't like Proctor as much. Wow, Josh Newton's all the way down here. Bo Braid is hit or miss for me, but I like those top two guys there: DeCamry Richardson and then Oladapo from Oregon State, the safety.
I'm good with either.
Colton, you said Richardson. You like him?
I do.
Chris, would you prefer a safety here or a corner?
I think Richardson's 140 on
game
score.
Kind of do, yeah. That's a good. I think that's good value. Let's go double dip corner. Richardson, it is locking it in. Moving on. So we've addressed corner twice. We have 3 picks remaining here. In real life, Colton, is there any way Brett Holmes uses these picks? I mean, we talked about this yesterday. It feels like they are a non-day 3 organization at this point.
Trying to wrap it up.
Like, yeah, we're trying to wrap it up, get out of here. Like the Rams used to have that saying about like they're not going to have any of the picks. I feel like Holmes might be a non-day 3 guy, especially in this draft. I don't know. He might not be the only one.
With the number of players that went back to school because of NIL, day 3 is going to be real thin. So maybe that's you try to get up or you package some of those picks to get another player in the 5th, something like that. I don't know.
I could definitely see him going like 201 and 249 to move up like 5 spots and just get
out of there. Yeah, so we're done here.
Just finish it up and go hang out with people in downtown.
Right, just go have a beer out in the tent.
Be nice for us, yeah.
Okay, so here we are. Torrey Taylor leading the board. I don't know if he's going to be there, frankly, in the 6th
I think he's going to be gone before round 6.
There is Trey Taylor, the Air Force safety, who's related to someone that I can't remember.
It's Ed Reed.
It is Ed Reed. Okay, so he's Ed Reed's cousin or Ed something.
Yeah.
Dylan Laub, the New Hampshire running back. Tip Ryman, I love him, the tight end from Illinois.
Yeah.
Another safety, Hampton.
I mean,
what are we
like Dominique Hampton, I don't think is going to be there either, but he's a good player.
Yeah. James Williams.
Do you think they draft a running back late round? They brought in Cody Schrader from Mizzou.
Well, Shamar Jefferson is still on that roster, is he not? And until Brad Holmes moves on from him, my answer to that is probably not. That's my guess. I don't know. But I saw yesterday he's still on the roster. So, who's back?
Bam Knight. Didn't they keep him around? Is he still?
They did bring him back.
I don't know. They did.
Yeah. It's probably not.
What running back? What? Well,
let me look at it.
Rasheen Ali is the first one we're seeing there.
And Laub. Laub was
Jr.
Well, the New Hampshire kid is like that's like your third down.
He's a Woodhead type guy.
Yeah.
Dylan Johnson, who has got some juice a little bit. He's not bad. Frank Gore Jr. I don't know. I don't know if I would go.
Probably not.
I don't know if they need to do that.
They'll bring in like a UDFA probably. What about linebacker? They did lose Anthony Pittman, so maybe another special teamer guy in this range.
Whoops. So we got Mike Barrett. Whoops, I screwed it up again. Curtis Jacobs as well from Penn State. Jalen Ford. I don't know if he'll be down there. It feels a little low for him.
They did bring in Aaron Casey, but that's
Aaron Casey.
He might be like a UDFA.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you guys feeling? I'm just talking out loud right now.
I mean,
go ahead,
not to question Dane. I'm sort of with you on I think Trey Taylor.
You like him?
Is like a perfect sort of day 3 guy. Like he's going to play special teams. He's pretty versatile back there. He made a ton of plays.
Yep. Oh, he did
all around the ball. He's 23, I think. So, and he's coming from Air Force, so you're not going to have to worry about him.
He's a solid guy.
Think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
let's do it. We're probably spending too much time on a 6th round pick.
Anyway. Well, he's a good athlete too. He's got all the measurables. I got the beast here open, so I like that. I like him.
Let's do it.
He's first team All-American too. Yeah, he's a good player. Taylor is in, the cousin of Ed Reed. Maybe we'll get Ed Reed in to to coach or something.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're back up. Would they? What about tight end here? How much do you think they're looking at tight end at all? At all, or
well, they just gave Brock Wright
a bunch of money. Yeah, it's true. So probably not. I like Raymond. Type Raymond. I love that guy. He's one of my favorites in this draft.
If you're talking like best player available, I mean, it might be Tip at this point.
I don't hate Gabe Hall. He's a little inside-outside guy, although we already went there.
Is there like a project tackle we could take in the 7th?
Richard Boyd, your guy Boyd.
Christian Boyd is another one who I think they're going to like a lot.
We did take Michael Hall, but
we did already do that. But that's one to mention. I was going to say Ethan Driscoll would be maybe. He's the big dude from Marshall. Isn't he the big 6'8" guy? Right? I think he is. Let me PFS probably got it.
First look.
Somewhere.
Go to first look.
Next 6'8", 313.
Yeah, big dude, left tackle, gap guy. Yeah, I liked him. He's like he's a bit project-y, but he's also not super, super young, which is why he's going to go low here. But if you're going to do that, right?
Yeah, or a kicker maybe. I don't know.
Okay, yes. Now we're talking kicker.
I don't know if like Will Record's going to be here at this point. Probably not.
Cam Little is also awesome, really good player. And again, yes, I don't know if he would be there either, but I like Little. I saw him at Shrine, and he's one of the ones where the ball comes off the foot, and it's like, oh my god, okay, you can hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't hate either of those kickers. Let's go Little. I would go Little because Colton just went with Riker, unless Chris is against the kicker situation.
I mean, I was just good. You're like immediately testing people's patience on YouTube. An hour and 2 minutes in debating kickers here in the 6th round.
This is why they listen to us.
Whichever one you feel like at this point.
People want the kicker dialogue.
Tim Twentyman.
You took Little?
Yes, I did. Tim Twentyman, Lions.com, told me that at the Combine he had to stay until the last night because the kickers were the last ones to talk, and they were like, you need to write about all the kickers because our fans, all they're asking are about these kickers. So
yeah,
Little was all SEC kickoff specialist. You might need, I don't know, like how much you're considering the new kickoff rules now too.
Oh yeah,
someone who can drop it exactly where you want to
put it right. Maybe Fox would be good at that. I think Fox would be good at that too. Actually, who's going to return for this, you think?
I love all this knowledge you've gained from editing.
I know, right? What do you need? Like you want to know what sports Cam Little played when he was 8 years old?
We could have got Reichard here. All right, last pick,
double up on the kicker.
Last pick. There we go. Austin Reed, a Hilltopper quarterback. Frank Crum, he's super athletic as well. There's another Delmer Glaze. I don't hate him. He's a decent tackle down there.
He was supposed to go way
good value. A couple of Michigan guys down there. What are you thinking here? I don't hate Project Tackle would be your maybe down here as well.
I'm down. Which one do you like? Donovan Jennings?
I think Glaze feels like good value here to me. I like him.
Yep.
I saw him earlier this offseason. We're locking it in.
He's 132 on Dane's board, so we got him.
I thought he was.
Dane also has him as a guard, though, so I don't know if that impacts.
Whatever. We need both at this point. You can take both. Okay, they're grading our draft.
Oh,
we got an F.
Mike Hall.
Mike Hall
coming in.
All right, so
whatever.
Cam Little got a better grade than Mike Hall.
We go Led McConkey, Andrew Phillips, Mike Hall, Christian Mahogany, Cameron Richardson, Trey Taylor, Cam Little, Delmer Glaze. This is pretty. I like this. This addresses everything that, and we didn't mess with the edge because to me, unless you are in love with one, which I'm not personally, I wouldn't worry about it. I don't mind this. Other than Mike Hall, to give us an F for him.
Whatever, PFF.
Your final thoughts, Chris Colton, on this bad boy, or we're right out of here. And your final prediction on what's going to happen here.
I'll go first so Colton can close. I mean, I like what we did. I would say that's sort of the challenge for me with this class is I do think Hall addresses some of the problem because I think you need someone who can get to the quarterback from the interior. I would have liked to get one more guy who can get after the quarterback somewhere, but I don't know where you're going to find that guy in this draft. Even the round 1 guys, like,
yeah,
I don't love Chop Robinson as much as some
either.
other people. Like, a lot of those guys that are up there, I would have questions about too. So if there was one thing that I would say we like missed, it would be that. But otherwise, like the second, you've got 3 good pieces for the secondary. You got a long-term guard, wide receiver that makes sense. I think
I like it.
This looks pretty good.
I know we weren't trying to do too many trades. We did have a lot of offers for 66, was what I noticed.
Yeah.
So one thing I think we could have done was traded down maybe like 15, 20 spots in the third.
Yep, you're right about that.
And gotten like some like early 80s and then maybe like another pick in the like early hundreds. And then we could have taken like Jalen Hunt as like an edge if we want a pass rusher, and then maybe like Mason Smith, like another 4th rounder that we pick up.
Yeah, because there was still guys that were around 100. There was still a bunch that were like, okay, I could.
If there's a D tackle in like the early hundreds that we, another pick that we could pick up from trading down, that way we can get an edge and a D tackle instead of just taking my call there.
I like that.
So that's maybe the only thing I would have done differently in hindsight. But I mean, you look at the haul, you get a receiver that's going to get open and create separation. You get a feisty man corner that has inside-outside flexibility. You get a defensive tackle. Yeah. Cameron Richardson, I think, has some upside, especially at
I like him.
Mahogany is going to be a 12-year vet.
Yep.
Trey Taylor's got some juice as a ball hawk. Cam Little, we get our kicker, and we get a developmental tackle. I think that's a pretty solid draft, all things considered. So
I like it a lot.
I like
it a lot. I think it's another one that's indicative of like it's going to be hard for them to have a bad one again. Like they just have done such a good job of putting themselves in this position. So yes, I like it. You got any final predictions there on what they're going to do, Colton? What do you think they're going to do?
I have no idea. And
this is hard.
How Brad Holmes wants it, right?
This is not like the old days when we were picking at 2 or 3 and trying to guess that one. Like
he said it was easier back then because they had so many needs, so they could just take like the highest ranked player or whatever.
Yeah.
So now they can really do whatever they want, and that's they do it that way by design. So it's tough to pinpoint. Like I can throw out some names. I think like Newton, JPJ, Kool-Aid, even Darius Robinson, if they stay at 29, I think would all make a ton of sense. If they want to trade down a little early second, I think there's some players that could fit there as well. So if they trade up, I agree with you. I think like Terry and Arnold would be the target.
Yeah, I love that.
They brought him in for a visit. He has the sort of mentality they love, and he's arguably the best corner in this class. So they have a need there, and long term they don't have a guy there. So I think that would make a ton of sense. It just depends on the price and what you'd have to trade to get him. But
I agree.
I love the player. I think it'd be a great fit.
Chris, you got a prediction here before we ride out? What do you think?
I don't know if I have a prediction, but just to sort of further that point, like that you were just making about what it used to be like here. I mean, I think that's one of the things that's hard to sort of pin down now too. Is do they feel like they're one piece away from winning?
Yeah, I know. Right.
Like, do they feel like they're a top 15 guy away from being where they need to be? Because that, like, if you think you're Terry and Arnold away from winning the NFC,
go get him.
Then you're probably going to get Terry and Arnold, right? You're not waiting and hoping something falls into your lap. So I think that'll also be interesting to watch. I mean, Holmes doesn't talk like he talks like he's going the other direction, where he's going to 35 and 36
going
and 37.
Down.
But that would be to circle back to where I was an hour ago. Like he's the wild card here in this among a lot of the NFL GMs. So I wouldn't be shocked.
To speak to that, I asked Holmes at the owners' meetings, like, what's it been like watching this roster transform over the years to where it is now? A lot of people think it's one of the best in the league. And his answer was, well, I get where you're going with that, but to me, it's like the work's never done. Like we're so far from like where I want to take this thing. I still think we have a lot to do. Our front office, our scouting department, we don't think the work is done. So we're still foot on the gas pedal. So I don't know if they have that one player away mentality. Even at the trade deadline last year, when a lot of people want to get Chase Young or one of these other guys, he kind of said then, like, we're never going to be one player away. Like, we're always trying to build this thing with the future in mind. So I feel like, sacrificing a ton of assets to move up might not be in the cards, but maybe there's one guy that you feel comfortable with in like the early 20s that you can target and say, we'll just give up a third and then we'll keep it rolling. That's my only
that was my only prediction. If someone falls to a reasonable spot, if someone falls and is standing out, like if Arnold or Quinion fall, that would be my prediction. If they try to go up and get one of those guys, if not, they're moving down. That would be my other I don't know if there's going to be anybody there that they are so in love with that they can't say no to whatever offers are going to come through. Because I think there will be offers there. I think there's going to be probably a few. Receiver or quarterback is certainly possible. So, okay, well, we're at hour 20, so that'll do it. If anyone's still watching and listening, be sure to, Colton, you got that email address ready for me again? Be sure to send an email or reach us out on Twitter.
What is it? OOTY Detroit at gmail.com.
OOTY Detroit at gmail.com. Send us an email there with your suggestion for the new name of the show and proof that you have subscribed to the YouTube channel, which is one of these years YouTube channel. Still one of these years. It will probably change at some point. But right now, that's what it is. So give us proof of subscription. Get yourself in the old contest there. And thanks again for listening, as always. Happy drafting. I hope all of you get down there and have a good time. If you run into any of us, Colton, maybe Colton will be scootering around. Are you going to go down there on one of these days at least? Are you going to get out of Allen Park?
I want to go there Thursday afternoon.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll be able to have time to go there anyway.
Well, I will not be on a scooter, ladies and gentlemen, so don't look for me on that. But if you do see me, come say hi. Chris will be in a bunker somewhere working, I think, the entire time. So don't say hi to Chris. But in any event, thanks again for listening. Good luck to everyone this week, of course, and be good to each other. We'll talk again later.